Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Hit subscribe right now to my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Via super chat, any topic within reason, please go ahead, talk about anything you like, and within reason via the super chat. Greatly appreciated. I can't do these live streams without you and your super chat support. Hit subscribe, become a member of this channel. And definitely subscribe as well to H.A. Goodman's other channel and the Stock Market Crash channel. I don't know if you remember, ladies and gentlemen, I was one of the first people in all of YouTube to tell you that crypto would crash. And I did that in 2021. You can watch the playlist on this channel. Just watch the playlist. I told you that in 2021. I told you that the market, the NASDAQ at least, unfortunately has crashed. Um, You also have the market down. I talked about a recession, and we're going to have, unfortunately, another recession um, in 2023. So hit subscribe to this channel. In addition to, what did I tell you about Twitter? I said eventually Twitter was going to either go bankrupt or something needed to happen. But hit subscribe. We'll talk about Trump's indictment, or sorry, the lack thereof, and the criminal charge referral against Trump. Steelers Girl 17, if there is a link or how people can get to a link for the GoFundMe, please let everybody know in the chat. And I will, because there's no, I don't think anybody can post, I don't think a link can be posted on this channel. Sometimes I can post links to other YouTube channels, but if you have a link to um, maybe it's on maybe you have a YouTube channel on your profile that you can post a link of the GoFundMe. But Steelers Girl 17 has a GoFundMe, ladies and gentlemen. Um, and everybody should definitely look at that GoFundMe and for Christmas. But anyway, in the chat, if you can explain how to get there, I apologize. Links on the actual chat don't really show up from viewers. But if you can let everybody know how to get to that YouTube channel link or that GoFundMe link, that would be greatly appreciated. Kevin, Henry, everybody here, High Tones, Eric Samurai, let's get started. Thanks, everybody. There's a criminal referral of Trump. They're not going to indict him. MSNBC, we'll see a series of indictments against Trump by spring. The law professor, unfortunately, has routinely been wrong. So there's been there's this very prestigious or revered law professor that has accused Trump of everything under the sun, but he's not going to be indicted. The reason is because he didn't commit a crime. Okay? So, Robert, JB, hello. He did not commit a crime. That's the issue. You can look at the obsession they've had with Trump. Just type in the walls are closing in. Okay? You could just type in, do a search. Okay? This is kind of hilarious. But the walls are closing in and then Trump. Okay, the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in on Trump. They used that phrase. It's now turning. It's like a punchline now. It's like hilarious. The walls are closing in on Trump. The walls are closing in on Trump. There are endless search results. The legal walls are closing in. 2018, the walls are closing in on Trump. 2018, the walls have been closed. Now we're going into 2023. The walls are closing in on Trump. Now 2020, 2019, the walls are closing in around Trump. So, and you have a situation where the walls are always closing in. Macy Hirono, the walls are closing in on Trump, 2018. Stephen Colbert, same thing. So it's never ending. It's never ending. There are endless results for the walls are closing in. Okay? There are really endless results. It's kind of it shows you, it really shows you. I mean, really, they're endless results. Donald Trump, the walls are closing in. And you look, it is just another walls of closing in on Trump has collapsed. So it's endless. And the thing is, they have obsessed over this man. A lot of it is projection, obviously. Okay. He did not, he did not, ladies and gentlemen, tell anyone to commit any crimes. Okay. He's protected under the First Amendment. So he didn't commit a crime in January. Was it a bad idea? Yeah, you should never have had that day in January. Okay. But he did not commit a crime. They have had 2 years to investigate him. They have had the Senate and the House for 2 years now, 2021 and 2022. They don't need a criminal referral, by the way. The DOJ does not need a criminal referral. Okay? That's something that is an interesting, fact. The DOJ does not need a criminal referral. They don't have to wait. They don't have to they do not have to wait for Congress to refer Donald Trump for prosecution. Okay? That doesn't have to happen. The Department of Justice could have already indicted Trump. They've had 2 years. You've had a Democratic Attorney General and a Democratic administration for 2 years. Okay? 2 years. They have not found any evidence to charge Trump in a court of law. The Atlantic, the prosecution of Trump runs into some serious First Amendment troubles. Yeah, you're trying to prosecute the man because you think that his words incited and compelled criminal behavior. You can't even prove. First of all, the effort to prove that there was some kind of organized effort to overthrow the country, that never happened. Okay, that categorically did not happen. Okay, these are the same people, by the way, who look at Hunter's emails and say, "Well, you can't prove anything," or who look at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, literally like working or suspending accounts or working with Twitter to suspend conservative accounts, and they don't see anything wrong with that. These are the same people who say that Trump was a Kremlin operative. They're consistently wrong. They have yet to ever um, actually back up any of their accusations. They don't have any accusations. I mean, they don't have any evidence to back up their accusations. Okay. So they don't have the evidence needed to claim that Trump committed a crime. See, in a court of law, you can prove that Hillary or Hunter committed crimes. Okay. In a court of law, you cannot prove that Trump committed crimes. The difference is that if you watch the short on this channel, the Honorable James Comey, the Honorable James Comey stated that no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Although there are potential violations of the legal statutes, no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Stacy, thank you again. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you. Thank you. But they're telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that when it comes to Democrats, they keep saying nobody's above the law. Yeah, well, up until recently, people who gave to the Democratic Party, like Sam Bankman-Fried, they were above the law. Hunter has been above the law. Hunter Biden, if his name was Trump, if his last name was Trump, he would not be able to do what he's done. Okay, some people are above the law. You cannot have private servers with top secret intel. It's not possible. If Donald Trump had private servers and deleted half of his emails, okay, 30,000 deleted emails, and he said, well, it was because of yoga, not a person on the planet would believe him. Okay? Not a person on the planet would believe him. That would never fly. Okay? They would never ever ever allow that. Thank you, high tones. Thank you. That would never be allowed to take place. You think, I mean, one way we know that the system is flawed and there's a double standard is just pretend Trump, like, you already have Democrats who have stated egregious things like get in people's faces, don't give them a moment of peace, make them feel unwelcomed, referring to Trump supporters. Okay, you have one Hillary supporter who ended the life of somebody, okay, in front of the person's family. This was in the news. Okay, this was in 2016. Nobody blames Clinton for calling Trump supporters deplorable. Nobody blames that rhetoric. See, when terrible things happen, when crimes take place, and they're linked to left leaning organizations or individuals, it's never the fault of the rhetoric on the left. That's only when, like, that's only when something terrible happens and and Trump said something, so he had to have been the cause for this. So, like, you see this a lot. Like, there could be an atrocity take place. Like, there's zero discussion on evil, the concept of why people commit evil, like the concept of evil. Why do people? Why does a human being end the life of another human being or their own life? Okay, there are a number of reasons, a number of factors, none of which have to do with political ideology. Or I should say, you do have political ideology play a role. That's when a political group, for example, says we're doing this in the name of a certain ideology. Then you pretty much know that, okay, politics is involved. That's a word that starts with T, okay? But an individual who snaps and commits a an atrocity, we have no clue why that individual. They blame the firearm. They blame rhetoric from Republicans. Have you ever heard pundits, Democrats actually blame the perpetrator, the person that actually commits the criminal act? You hear more condemnation. High tones. Thank you. Merry Christmas, HE. Thanks. Thank you for your acknowledgement. Thank you, High Tones. Greatly, greatly appreciated. I hope all is well, High Tones. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Thank you so very much, High Tones. Thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough, everybody. High Tones, thank you. They might indict him. They could indict him, but here's a couple of things. If they indict Trump, they leave the door open to an indictment of Biden when he leaves office because the impeachment will be about crimes. See, with Trump, there was never anything. He was in the public eye. He was in the public eye for 40 years. Let's see, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and then going into, so he was in the public eye for about 35 years. No, actually about 40 years. Thank you, High Tones. Thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. I gotta thank people. I gotta thank people. They're giving. If you're giving a super chat, I'm gonna thank you. You don't have like $20 million in venture capital funding. I gotta thank the person. Especially like it's not like I'm doing anything else but like talking. So there's no only H.A. Goodman account that, can provide other extracurriculars other than discussion about politics and the economy and life and society and sports or whatever. So I'm thankful for I'm thankful for people to contribute, and especially in Biden's economy with real wages down. But if they indict Trump, they will be they will have a very difficult time proving it in a court of law. They will have a very difficult time. The Indict Trump blueprint reveals Make America Great obstruction plot. Let's see this. Well, see, now it's like DOJ lawyers are, if they don't indict Trump, the nation. This is a lot of, this is a lot of, this is an obsession with, you would think that they could just find a crime. If he's this criminal, this rampant criminality, you would think he could find a crime. Hmm. Why couldn't they find a crime? I mean, that is a question here. Why couldn't they find a crime? With Biden, you do have potential graft and bribery, potential bribery. You have you have emails showing emails showing that there was a concerted effort to sell access or to sell the allure or prestige or possibility that the vice president at the time, a person that would be president eventually, could do a favor. So forcing out a prosecutor is an example of altering US foreign policy. Okay? Even the people, by the way, when Joe forced out a prosecutor, when he actually told on himself and he was very proud of it. And then when they're caught with their hands in the cookie jar with their pants down, literally, they say, "Oh, well, everybody knew that was a good thing." It's like, no, no, no. When Joe was telling the story to the Council on Foreign Relations, even the people he was talking to said, "You have no right to do that." And then Biden said, "Well, call President Obama." I mean, it's within. Here's the issue with Trump. They had a lot of people say, "Well, we know he was pressuring that country." Even the president of that country stated that never took place. Okay, and the thing is, that country was invaded while Biden was in office. You have to ask yourself why these things take place. Like, why is there a recession, another recession we're having? Faith by nature. Nice group. Thank you for explaining stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. Faith by nature. Thank you. To my super chat. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Faith by nature. High tones. Thank you so much. You probably should have done more uploads on this topic. Um, I will actually tomorrow. So like at around 9 a.m., you will have an upload on this. But they're not going to indict Trump on anything to do with January. They could possibly indict him on the classified data issue. But even then, the classified data issue is he's a former president with the ability to declassify, and you had Clinton siphoning data, top secret intel outside the U.S. government. So it's like you're going to have a very tough time. You're going to have a very difficult time proving that Trump committed a crime when you basically allowed the most absurd setup. Like, they get away with, it's unbelievable. Democrats get away with the most absurd, like, you have emails where Hunter's business associates are asking him um how he can use his influence on their company's behalf. I mean, it's like right there. I would love to just read Hunter's emails to a Democratic pundit in a debate and say, what do you think this means? And where is the equivalent with Trump? What do you think this means? Faith by Nature, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very, very much. High Tones, thank you again. So it's like and the Republican Party, like all they have to do is the publicly available reporting by the New York Post, Daily Mail, Federalist, others. All they have to do is just compile the emails. Okay, it's right there. Cite like the publication, just say, New York Post. This was exactly why it was suspended, by the way, from Twitter because you had government agencies. Okay, you had government agencies work with that platform to help the Democratic Party. I love how there's this facade that people believe. The facade is that when they're defending the current state of affairs, oh, well, Twitter did nothing wrong. Oh, the government agencies did nothing wrong. Well, then why is it that only Democrats benefited at the expense of Trump and Trump Republicans? Why is it that one political party always benefits from bureaucracy and government involvement? Why is it that trust and safety and moderation always curtail speech when it comes to conservatives, or silence or ban or suspend accounts? Hardly ever when it comes to Democrats. And the only time it does when it comes to Democrats is if they actually agree with conservatives on a specific topic. So, I mean, the issue, ladies and gentlemen, Bud, hello. The issue, ladies and gentlemen, is that's right. I'm going to fix that. Thank you for letting me know about that. Um, the issue here is that the only thing they actually have is contempt for Trump. Eric, hello. The only thing they actually have is contempt for Trump, which is, and I will say this, I want Trump back in the Oval Office, but DeSantis could be that really is the greatest advantage that DeSantis has. Okay. Even let's just say that here, I mean, they're so obsessed. Watergate prosecutor expects Trumps to face federal state charges. It took 7 years. It was John Dean. Here we go. No, no, no. John Dean was not a prosecutor. Um, he was prosecuted. Let's see. I think Donald Trump is going to be indicted. He's going to be indicted in Georgia. How? What? Really? It's taken 2 years, and I think he's going to be indicted by the feds. Why did it take 2 years? He's not going to be indicted in Georgia. He could be indicted for the classified data, but then the precedent was already set by Clinton. You can't make a mockery of like laws governing classified data and then indict Trump. So You have a situation where they're desperate to just obsess over Trump. That is actually the, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually um the competitive advantage that DeSantis has. Okay, they don't have that vitriol. Okay, so you know what? Go to Steelers Girl. Go to Twitter, everybody. Let's see if you can see this. Go to at Steelers Girl 777 on Twitter and go ahead at Steelers Girl 777 on Twitter, and it's for her son, and it's a GoFundMe for Christmas, and you'll she'll explain why that GoFundMe is so important. So it's funny because Steelers Girl, your message didn't show up, but I can see it. But then I posted your, it's at Steeler Girl 777 on Twitter. It's a GoFundMe for her son. Please go ahead, everybody, for Christmas. Look at that GoFundMe. It's really important. And God bless you and your son, Steeler Girl 17. Steeler Girl 17, and the Twitter profile is Steeler Girl 777. The great Franco Harris passed away. He was unbelievable. He was really amazing. He was really, really one of the greatest ever. He really was. Franco Harris was one of the greatest ever. I just can't believe that he passed away. Steeler Girl, thank you. Yvette Moore. Yvette, you still don't understand, HE. There were tweets and they were mean. Now get your loose change out. It's needed. Yvette Moore, thank you. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you so very, very much to my super chat. Thank you. Yvette, that's true. And I still don't understand how he's like, I don't understand what is so extreme about Trump or DeSantis, especially when you had Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger vote in favor, in line with Trump over 90% of the time. So I just don't get it. Yvette, thank you so very much. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you so very much, Yvette. Thank you. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. I actually don't get the hysteria over Trump. I don't. Aside from um I don't understand the hysteria. I know that he doesn't worship the intel community and his foreign policy. I heard in one statement by one pundit, he said, "Oh well, he left removing troops from the Middle East to Biden." No, he didn't. It was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. What's he supposed to do? Transport himself like Back to the Future, like or like go. That's back to no, just fly 6 months ahead into the future before it happens. It was a May 1st, 2020 withdrawal. What? How many times can I say that to people? They don't realize that was the Doha Agreement. Okay, Biden completely botched it, and he reluctantly removed Americans in the most haphazard manner. And we still don't know if there are Americans left. So, Yvette, thank you again. The thing is, like, I don't really understand. After 7 years, I get the fact that never Trump Republicans don't like him, but the never Trump Republicans voted alongside him in Congress. So I don't get that. I still don't. Where are the never Bidens? Where are they don't exist. They don't exist. I would love to ask the National Review or others that like blame Trump and they say, "Oh my God, if we just this candidate could have won in Georgia or Arizona. Okay. Um, but isn't it the state party that should rally around the former president, not the other way around? When was the last time a state party, like, you could look at Fetterman, you could look at a Democrat in Pennsylvania that if he were stopped by law enforcement, he wouldn't even pass a sobriety test. So, everybody, again, it's at Steeler Girl 777 right here, and on her Twitter profile. I don't even think you need um, a Twitter account. You can actually just look it up on Twitter. She will have the GoFundMe for her son, and God bless you and your son, Steeler Girl 17, and your family. So I believe everybody can see the link to the Twitter profile. So for Christmas, it would be awesome if everybody looked at that Twitter profile and looked at the GoFundMe. Yvette Moore, I think that it's also, they have nothing but contempt for Trump because the economy is objectively worse. This is another disingenuous. They say Trump's economy was terrible. Not before 2020. Not before 2020. Buzz, hello. Before 2020, his economy was record breaking. He was creating millions of jobs, hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs, and you had hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. Real wages were up. Real wages are down. That was also the knock on Trump. Like, oh, well, real. What about real wages? Real wages are like not even as not increasing as fast as wage growth. Well, wage growth is increasing pretty fast with Biden. Guess what? Real wages, when you take into account inflation, you're actually losing money. I go to the supermarket, it's easily $150. Easily 100. Easily 100 to 200. I mean, in Southern California, things are probably more expensive than the rest of the country, but and food prices are going up. So, you know, I know Taser, this is like they blame Trump. It's going on mashed potato brain's third year, and they still can't come to grips with the fact that their policies are terrible. But see, again, here's the issue: they don't care. That's why, DeSantis, he's like their kryptonite. DeSantis. I want Trump to come. Trump has to come back and speak to independents and speak to the Arizona and Georgia Republican parties and find some detente. Some detente. There has to be some detente or olive branch. If DeSantis can do a better job with an olive branch, is the you ain't gonna nothing you ain't gonna you can't win in 24. You can't win in 24 without the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties. Now, hopefully, Kerry Lake and Abe Hamadeh are able to, create some kind of incentive for them to get on board. Okay, one would think, well, how could that be an incentive? Well, if they win their trials, it's a paradigm changing moment. Paradigm changing moment because business as usual is no longer business as usual. That's a paradigm changing moment. And you have to adopt the same tactics. You can't, the politics, the grievance politics of, oh my God, you did this. Oh my God, that only works for Democrats. Only Stacey Abrams can say things after she loses, not Trump or DeSantis or Lake or anyone else. Democrats can, accuse a Republican of everything under the sun if they lose. If the Republican does it, it's all democracy. Oh my God. So you have to ask yourself, um, well, what is it they want? Let us say they get Trump and if Trump decides, you know what, I don't need this. If Trump tomorrow says, you know what, I'm tired, I don't need all of this. DeSantis, DeSanctimonious, DeSanctimonious, you can have it. Go ahead. You can have the nomination. I don't need it. I don't need it. That wasn't bad. Come on now, that wasn't bad. Do you know what they would say about Ron DeSantis? It would be the end of the world. Oh my God. Ron DeSantis is worse than Trump. Oh my God, the DeSantis dossier. He was in a hotel room in Miami, and then he went to Moscow, and he came back to oh my God. Oh my God. They would say he's worse than Trump. But hello. They would say he's worse than Trump. They would long for Trump. Look what they did to Elon Musk. He went from like he's the wealthiest man in the world. Exactly. Vanessa, exactly. DeSantis dossier. Thank you. So I mean it's like they would say that, oh my God, DeSantis, he's horrible, he's worst. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's actually worse than Trump. Democracy. Oh no, democracy. They would actually they would actually, you know, they would make it seem like that they miss Trump. That's kind of what my point is. Like they would actually pretend that they missed Trump. Okay. And really what it comes down to, people, is that they crave power. Danny, thank you. He craves power. I mean, they crave power. Sorry, it's not about this. That's why, like, the people I know that are still friends with me, even though I'm voting for Trump, um, they don't. Some of them say, "Well, you don't take it seriously. You don't take politics seriously. You shouldn't take politics seriously." This obsession with politics on the left or within the Democratic Party is a new phenomenon. The people who were most passionate used to be Republicans. They were generally the most passionate. Democrats were never really, in general, that passionate. They just voted Democrat. They really like. You can look. There were documentaries about Bush v. Gore. The people who were the most passionate were on the Republican side, and Bush v. Gore was covered by CNN like, you know, they didn't have a stake. They didn't really care who won. Okay, now you have people on CNN like that will actually shed tears if a Republican wins, or tears of joy if a Democrat wins. That is bizarre. I mean, the concept of everyone being American, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we're all American. That's what should be the focus of both political parties. We're all American. But you have Democrats saying, oh, well, you're deplorable if you like Trump, and there's good Republicans. You know who the good Republicans are for Democrats? The Republicans who are not a threat or obstacle politically. That's why they love Mitt Romney, because they could defeat Mitt Romney 100 out of 100 times. You think Liz Cheney lost by 40 points? She's the perfect spokesperson to be the good Republican for the Democratic Party. Kinzinger didn't even want to run again. so, so you have a situation where these people are obsessed, and that's the only like if there is if you have DeSantis decide to run in 24, and he could probably decide late 23 to run. Okay, because I think he would decide probably this summer. Okay, if Trump doesn't get back his if Trump doesn't get back his electricity, that kind of flair that he had in 2015 that spoke to independence. Trump did very well with independence. I believe he won independence in 2016. He lost independence 2 years ago. That's the issue. That's the issue, people. You have to speak to independence. You have to get the independent vote. Okay, that's the issue. If you don't get independence and you don't get state parties backing you, there is there's no chance. You have to get the Arizona and Georgia Republican parties. That has to be the number one focus of Trump and DeSantis. Their campaigns have to build like by this summer or by the beginning of next year. They have to find some way. I think DeSantis has a much better chance of doing that. I mean, if Trump finds a way, if there's some kind of um I don't even know how that would take place because there's been such a battle, you even like you see, during this past in November, they were more than happy. These state parties were more than happy to just, you know, they didn't even back Herschel Walker until the very end. I mean, it was pretty unbelievable. They didn't back Herschel Walker. You had Democrats. I mean, do you understand the debate between Oz and Fetterman? You couldn't even that would have been part of a movie in the 90s or early 2000s. That would be a movie with like Will Ferrell and a bunch of other comedians. You couldn't even you couldn't make that up. That would be part of a comedic script. And the rebuttals, well, he had an ailment. Yeah, I feel sorry for him, but at the same time, if the Republican had that same issue, they would be mocked mercilessly by Saturday Night Live and everybody and Stephen Colbert. They wouldn't care. They went after Herschel Walker. He was like, you could understand exactly what he was saying at all times. But with Oz and the Democratic senator, he's a Democratic senator now. You understand? And if he was pulled over by law enforcement, he wouldn't pass a sobriety test. They don't care about. I mean, he sounded like Yoda if Yoda was an alcoholic. Combining two different sentences and ending it with a question. ending the statement with a question or with a question mark. It's like so bizarre. The whole thing was just very, very bizarre. The whole thing was very, very, very bizarre. And it's like you got to ask yourself, at what point does this type of thing at what point does this type of thing end? Or how is this type of thing um how do you address this politically? Because you have to address it politically. There has to be some attempt at addressing this. There has to be some attempt at, fixing this problem. Yvette Moore! I can't believe the amount of people who dropped Donald J. Trump so quickly. I wouldn't want them as supporters of my football team. I agree. I agree with you. Um, Here's the thing. My first choice is Trump. Yvette, my first choice is Trump. But I would say, who would be the coach of the soccer, football team, or rugby team, or the manager? I think it's more the team would be Trump's foreign policy and economic policy. And then it's a question of who's leading that. One would think Trump would lead that, and I want that to take place. Um, I want that to take place. I agree with you, Yvette. I agree with you. But at the same time, you know, I just want him to kind of turn up the heat in terms of, what he's capable of politically. George, hello. Like I want him to just step it up because he had that dinner, then he had that tweet about the Constitution, then he had the trading cards. And I know it's just 2 years. It's 2 years. I agree with you on that. Like the Trump DeSantis ticket would be amazing. The you know it would be very interesting what takes place this summer if if he can get back the electricity that he had. There's no stopping Trump. If he could get back that electricity, um, if he could get that electricity in that he had in 2015, there's no stopping Trump. There really is no stopping him if he can get back that electricity. Okay. Um, the problem, however, is that if he cannot get back that electricity and DeSantis has the same foreign policy, same economic policy, continues to prove himself, he could very well surpass Trump. Okay. Because there are a lot of people like me who have Trump first. I have Trump first, DeSantis second. Okay. But Trump has to step up his game. That's all I'm saying. If I don't see him stepping up his game, and again, like I don't really obsess over optics, but you do have to have you do have to address the issue of optics. So, a great point, Yvette Moore. Thank you. I think it's more of there are. I would never vote for anyone that has a Lincoln Project foreign policy, which, by the way, Democrats do and the Never Trump Republicans do. So I wouldn't vote for anyone that has that interventionist, hawkish, militaristic foreign policy. It's interesting. The left doesn't care at all. They do not care. They just do not care. It's just unbelievable. It is just unbelievable how like that is not a concern at all. Exactly. You don't want to peak. I agree with you on that. That's a great point. It is 2 years. I agree with you on that. My the one worry I have is that, once Trump really gets going and he does get a little bit of that spark, even a DeSantis running on all cylinders isn't going to surpass him. Because it would be difficult for a DeSantis, even running on all cylinders, to surpass a Trump that already has this locomotive where, if he shows some signs of life and okay, the problem though is that if he goes into 24, he doesn't have Georgia, he doesn't have Arizona, and all of media is the same. He'll have Twitter. That's a good thing. But he has to be able to get back on this platform. I mean, he should be able to get back on other platforms. Like he should be able to get back on Facebook, for example. I mean, he has to work on that. Um, this type of blanket, unfortunately, the censorship works. Unfortunately, when they suspended the New York Post account, it worked. So they know what they're doing at the expense of freedoms in the country. They know what they're doing. Unfortunately, it works. Just, if you look at if they indict him, it's probably the best thing for him. So if the best thing they could ever do for Trump right now is to indict him because they can't prove anything in a court of law, right? So if they indict him, the opposite takes place because then you'll have polls showing that, wait a second, a Democrat barely beats an indicted Trump by like 2 points or whatever, or some polls showing an indicted Trump defeats a Democrat. But again, like I said, you have to have the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties on board. You have to have that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I know it's late in the evening. I do appreciate your support. Yvette, High Tones, everybody here, thank you so much. Um, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back. I'm going to try to do uploads in the morning. So you'll have a.m., a 9 a.m. So a 9 a.m. and like an 11:30 a.m. upload. But, or definitely a 9 a.m. And then I'll have earlier live streams. So I might try to do a live stream tomorrow at like around 4 p.m. Um, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow, everyone. God bless and have a great, great evening. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. And Happy Hanukkah and Happy New Year. And thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone.